A new study out this week shows that the majority of Americans raised Catholic no longer practice their faith, but it also shows how we can reverse that trend. First, let's take a look at the numbers. The study published in the Church Life Journal found that in 1973, 34% of those affected were raised Catholic, went to Mass every Sunday. In 2002, that number fell to 20% and fell even further in 2022 to just 11%. We'd like to welcome Michael Rota, professor of philosophy at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota and one of the authors of the study. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. You know, I got to tell you that the fact that there's been a decline in religious practice belief in the U.S. is nothing new. It's disturbing, but your study actually diagnosed the problem and how to fix it. Tell us more about it.
Well, the three largest reasons that retention among Catholics, so when people are raised Catholic, we can ask if they're still Catholic, if they're still practicing as adults. Today, we're losing about 9 out of 10 cradle Catholics in the United States. The three biggest reasons are weaker social connections among Catholics, the values gap between Catholic morality and mainstream American morality, and the internet and smartphones.
And you say one of the main keys to reversing this trend is community. Talk to us about how that's important.
Right. Well, 100 years ago, Catholic community came pretty easily for most Catholics in the U.S. You didn't have to go look for it. Maybe you were a Polish Catholic in Milwaukee, you lived in the Polish neighborhood, you went to the Polish parish, it just kind of happened. Today, our mode of living is our neighbors are more heterogeneous in terms of religion. Our friends, our coworkers have come from all different faiths or no faiths. So we have to seek community out. Just going to Sunday Mass and leaving, if that's all the religious activity you do as a family, that doesn't work anymore for handing on the faith to our children, because the wider culture will no longer guide them back to faith. Rather, it's more likely to take them away.
Yeah, that kind of goes to my next question, is how can Catholic families and parishes work together to build this lasting community? And even us here at EWTN can play a role in that.
Absolutely. So community is a key. We know a lot about the factors that make it more likely cradle Catholic youth will retain their Catholic identity as they grow into adulthood. Here are some of the factors. If both parents are on the same page religiously and are very active religiously, that helps. If it's clear to the children that the faith makes a difference in the everyday lives of the parents, that helps. If the kids are religiously active, that helps. If the kids have many faith-supportive peers, that helps. If the kids have mentors or grandparents, adults who aren't their parents, who are religious mentors for them, that helps. Well, you get all those things if your children are growing up in a rich, relationally rich religious community. Another question is, I've so far been speaking about what parents can do, but what can pastors do? What can religious leaders at the parish or diocesan level do? There, I think there's also room for improvement. In large sociological surveys, we see that evangelicals typically do much better promoting community within the congregation than Catholics. And so what parishes can do, if they don't already have vibrant Catholic lay movements in their parish, they can begin to offer activities that will pull in the believing but not highly practicing parishioners and families.
Do you think the fact that we have a pope from the United States, that this could lead to a rise in conversion and reversions?
Well, I certainly love our new pope, and it's wonderful to be able to hear him preach in English and just to have that instant understanding. So that's nice for us native English speakers. But really, the main drivers of retention in the Catholic Church will have more to do with how the child's life is structured and how religiously active their parents are and their peers are. So a great American Pope is a help. But the main thing is really in the parents' control, more in the parents' and children's control than who their pastor may be or who the Pope may be at a certain time.
Well, Michael Rota, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.